Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Good morning and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Carol and I'm here with Greta, and Leigh is back with us. Yay, we're so happy to have her back. And of course with the Realm of Beings. We're happy to be here on Transformation Network every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Listeners, thank you for being part of this experience. These conversations will help you to look at your life and your creation of reality, to see what you're creating in your life, how it shows up, and help you to gain perspective on how to shift what you are creating. So welcome. If you're new to the podcast, each week Greta gives and shares with us a quote given to her from the Realm of Beings, which we discuss with each other and later on with the realm themselves. This week, our quote from the realm is, "Prosperity is so right for me. Know that you can create prosperity in all aspects of your life." Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
I'm just going to mention prosperity. The first thought that comes to everyone's mind, of course, is going to be money. However, we need to let people know prosperity shows up in many, many, many forms and in many ways. I have a great example that just happened to me this week. I went to pick up a prescription. My copay should have been $26, and my pharmacist said, forget about it. So that was a big prosperity win for me. We also can have prosperity with people around us doing favors for us. I had a friend take me out to lunch and pay for it. All these things show that you're attracting prosperity. So let's chime in. Who wants to start?
Okay, I will. I want to start with the affirmation for our audience. This is an affirmation that we give to people to focus on increasing their prosperity. And it goes like this. It's going to name 8 things in it that are considered to be the aspects of prosperity. Like Carol said, it's not just money. So we say, I am experiencing, because you want to experience this. And when you add that word experiencing to it, it carries it throughout infinity, in fact. So wherever
dynamic also.
What did you say, Carol?
I said it makes it dynamic rather than static. It's not just a one-time thing. It's like you said, infinity.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a dynamic statement when you add experiencing to any affirmation. So I am experiencing, and we're talking about opulent prosperity. What is opulence? People ask me, well, what do you mean by opulence? I tell them, I say, okay, let's say you bought an apartment, you rented an apartment. Then from renting the apartment, you decided you were going to buy your house. A 2-bedroom house. So you're increasing your prosperity by doing that, because now you're developing ownership. So now you've got a 2-bedroom house. But let's say you had a windfall and all of a sudden you decided that you wanted to purchase a mansion that has 12 bedrooms in it. Okay, that's opulent. Now you've reached opulent prosperity. And why not think opulent? We think prosperity, move it on up to opulence. One of my mentors said in a class I was in, she said, what would you think of a tree that had no leaves while all the other trees around it were blooming well? So we said, well, something's wrong with the tree. Yeah, right. So all of us need to, it's in that title of our podcast this morning, prosperity is so right for me. Absolutely. So I am experiencing people, places, things, events, health, energy, money, and money substance. What is money substance? Silver, gold, diamonds, stocks, bonds. That's money substance. Money is just currency. So it's those 8 things that are inside that affirmation. And then I'm going to turn it over to Leigh, because I see her, I can feel her brain weaving around in there. So I am experiencing opulent prosperity in people, places, things, events, energy, health, money, and money substance. If I gave it a little bit out of order, don't worry about it. You just want to have those 8 things in there and start not attracting. There was a podcast where the realm said, let us not think attracting, but let us think creating. So we're creating prosperity in our lives. Let it roll, Leigh.
Well, it's nice to be back, ladies. Thank you for, filling in and compensating and creating while I was gone. So, thank you for that. And thank you for welcoming me back also. So I don't know. I mean, I was going to sort of share something about my own realization that I've come to recently in the prosperity zone, more in accordance with like what we always consider financial prosperity. However, I want to just note that in your list of things, prosperous things, I mean, I've had an experience lately where, I've really come to recognize that we really need to create like opulent, prosperous health and well-being for ourselves, right? Because without the opulent health and without the opulent well-being, it doesn't matter how much prosperity in things you may acquire or create or come to you. When you don't have your prosperous health, the other things on the list somehow, in my opinion, become less relevant, right? Because without your health, it's very challenging to enjoy all of those other things on the list. And without without a prosperous outlook, how much you have doesn't matter.
It doesn't make up for it, right?
Right, because there's many people who are quite prosperous in the ways that we would think of from a currency or financial standpoint. But then, because they don't have those other prosperous things, or their thoughts aren't prosperous, they don't feel the joy or abundance maybe that is actually right there in front of them. So that's kind of what I was thinking on this subject a little bit today. To sort of shift out of the maybe prosperity always in regards to like finances and income, and think of those things that are, I don't know, like I think, social relations, prosperous interactions with people, are so, because we are a network, right? We are one. So the relationships that we have with those other ones around us are priceless, because
Yes.
they're like, they foster our growth, our learning, our understanding.
You know, I grew up, my mother never had good health. She had a heart condition that was congenital from when she was a baby. And that was a statement she made all her life about not having good health was worse than not having money. Not that we had a lot of money either, but the health, she did stress the health was more important. So I give her props for recognizing that, because she didn't enjoy either of them really. But that's why we list all those things in Greta's affirmation, because they're all just as important as simply money.
Absolutely. And, you know, for people who are having challenges in the health area, I think we would suggest that they start focusing on being in perfect health, regardless of what your body is showing you at this time. And it could be something very, very challenging, but see in your mind, see yourself, I am in perfect health. That's declaring that, it's declaring that for yourself. It's bringing, it's assisting you in creating. If you're saying, oh, I'm sick, or I'm not well, and you focus on that, because if you're in pain and you're focusing on that, that intensifies the pain. So do the
More
reverse.
energy.
Absolutely. So you do the reverse. You say, I am experiencing, there's that word again, experiencing. I am experiencing perfect health at every moment of my existence. I'm experiencing perfect health in every moment. And you keep telling yourself that, telling yourself over and over to focus on that. There might even be people around you that are thinking the opposite. You know, don't go with that, because this is your body. You're in charge of your body. You know?
And I think the affirmation speaks also to the unconscious, which, Greta, I don't know if you and I have discussed this on the podcast. I know you and I have discussed this, but your unconscious really doesn't have emotion per se. So when you utter words, even if you don't mean them the way they sound, if you're joking about them, your unconscious does not understand it's a joke. And it's going to give you and manifest you what you say. So if you say things like, oh, you know, I'm so stupid, or I'm too fat, or your unconscious hears that and says, okay, you want to be stupid and fat? Here you go. And that's what you attract. So the wording again is very important. That affirmation Greta gave, I say it every day and I believe in it. And I've seen results from it.
Thank you. I know that, I don't know if I told it on this podcast, but I told about the time that my chest started to hurt. And I asked the realm. I was standing in my kitchen and I said, okay. I said, what's happening with me? And they said, oh, very nonchalantly as well. They said, you're having a heart attack. I said, oh, okay. So I went into my living room, I sat down, I started talking to my heart. I told it how wonderful it was. I loved it so much. I told all the cells in my body, thank you. And I told my heart, thank you for supporting me here. you know? But then I said, could we stop? Because we don't really have time to do this. You know, I said, I have too many things to do. I don't want to go to the hospital. I do not want to have that experience. So come on now. Every cell in my heart, come on, let's work together with this. Let's work together with this. Okay. I kept a very positive attitude. Come on now. We're doing great. We don't need to go down that road. Let's stay here. So it took 20 minutes, but then everything calmed down. And I got up and I said, ooh, I said, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I went back into my kitchen and continued to do what I'm doing, what I was doing.
Can I make a comment on that? There were a couple
Yeah.
of things, and I hope that I can remember them all. Like, first of all, it's hysterical to me that when you say that, the realm said, you added human very nonchalantly. Like,
Yes.
because to them, everything just is, right? It is the human who has this, oh my gosh, I'm having a heart attack. What am I? It's the human, the emotion that starts to like spiral out of control. But to other thought forms, it is just quite frankly what you are experiencing at this time. And if only we could all take that, it is just what we are experiencing at this time.
Or a step further, it's just what we're creating at this time.
Right. And without, you know what I mean? I mean, great in those times when your creations are on track and they're appealing to you and you want to add that emotion of joy and exuberance and, everything else. All right. But I mean, when we're maybe creating from lesser places, if we wouldn't amp it up with like, if we could, I just want to like, I think that's like such a fantastic example of being like present and aware and centered and not allowing like the probably emotion that is in the unconscious, like the shared unconscious, to like pivot your experience to something other than like, hey, I don't have time for this right now. Thank you so much for doing what you do. And I appreciate that you're there. But right now isn't really the time.
The emotion that I got from Gretta's story is overcoming fear, because that's a situation that I feel most people experience great fear. Because, you hear heart attack, you think, oh my God, I'm going to die. And Gretta got over that and said, I'm not afraid, because she knows, first of all, that death isn't real, it's an illusion. And secondly, because she knows that whatever is happening to her body is just a way of making a lesson show itself. Gretta, can I ask you, what was the lesson you think that was presenting to you during that situation?
Heart or anything dealing with the blood can be lack of joy in your life.
Ah, okay.
And so lack of joy for me is a challenge.
Okay.
I'm always doing things that make me feel joyful. Sometimes I was at the grocery store, in fact, and I love flowers. So I bought about 3 bunches of flowers, and there was a lady standing in front of me. And she said, oh, those flowers are beautiful. I said, oh, yes, they are, And she said, who are you buying them for? So I immediately knew, I said, this woman is thinking that I have all of these great flowers and I'm getting ready to give them away. I said, they're for me. And she just looked at me, they're for you. I said, absolutely. That was the joy for me. And see, that's one thing. And other people out there in our audience may be experiencing that same type of situation. Joy. Bring joy into your life. That's prosperity as well. Joy, joy, joy. There's a whole gospel song that goes, joy, joy, joy. I won't break out into song, everybody. I won't. But, it's just that it's a love of self. I have to appreciate myself. And I just surround things that I like, that make me feel good. And that health issue, that's another thing I'm working on, to make me feel good. I've decided to lose weight and to get rid of my diabetes experience that I created. And diabetes is a sign of deep sorrow. And I was in a situation years back, and it turned out that I had, I'm experiencing this. Well, it's also in my mother's lineage. And she kept telling me, God bless her heart, she kept saying to me, check your sugar. You've got diabetes. You notice what I said, you've got diabetes. I said, no, I don't have diabetes. Yes, you do. No, I don't. I mean, can you imagine arguing with somebody over your health? She's trying to project onto me her situation.
That was her fear.
Yeah. So I just said, no. I'd go, sometimes I went to the doctor. Okay, did you check your sugar? Sure. Okay, so you have diabetes? No, I don't have any diabetes. Well, finally, I was in a situation, a job situation in which I had to speak up for others. That's where the savior part came in for Gretta. So being in that savior mode, speaking up for others, I became sympathetic to them, to the situation. Instead of standing back, I went into it.
You attracted it to yourself.
Absolutely. But even if you attracted even if I had attracted it to myself, had I not gone deep into the sympathy for what the other people were experiencing, I would have been all right. But instead, Gretta decided, oh my God, look what they're saying about us. Look what they're doing to us, And so I fell deep into that. And consequently, what is diabetes? One of the mental equivalencies is deep sorrow. And pop, there it is. There it went. Oops, there it is. It started with my feet. Why do my feet hurt? And I'm going to the doctor. Well, I think you have diabetes. What? I got diabetes. And I told my mother, and she was so happy.
She was happy.
Yes. She said, oh, I told you had diabetes. I told you that. And I'm going, oh God. When I came home from the doctor, I sat down at my kitchen table because I always come through my back door. I sat down at my kitchen table, put my head down on my table, and I said, oh my God, look what I created. I sure did. Finally. Took years, but finally. Now I've decided, bring joy into my life. That's what I want. Joy, joy, joy. And I'm getting rid of it. We're bringing it to an end. This is, I'm in my finality with it. I don't want it anymore. I've gone through taking insulin where I had to shoot myself every day, down to just one, I was on 3 medications, 3. And I got rid of the insulin. People say you can't get, once you're on insulin, you can't get off of it. That's a belief system. I didn't believe that. I said, I don't care what those people believe. I'm getting rid of this. And that's exactly what I did. And I got rid of the other one. Now I'm on one and another one that's helping me to lose weight. I said, when I get down to 150 pounds, I'm through. So that's what I've set my goal, 150, I'm through. And then I just watch what I eat. And I don't eat that much anyway.
You actually, you eat very healthy, especially compared to me. Um, I'd like to just bring into awareness when Greta and the rest of us are talking about the mental equivalencies and how you can understand what they're representing, and you can try to control them through affirmations and the way you think. That doesn't mean we're saying do not seek medical assistance. That's still part of helping you get better. It doesn't mean, you just wish it and it happens. You still need to use every avenue to make yourself better or to rid yourself of a physical situation you don't want.
And you're going to, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carol.
No, that's okay. Go ahead, Greta.
No, I was just going to say, and the prosperity is finding health, individuals in the health field. That's your prosperity. That's your people. See,
and also finding the correct ones.
Right. And that who are going to fit what you need for yourself. So when you couple that, one thing that is, it's not in that affirmation, but it's a given, and we say it every week. Love yourselves. Love yourself, because that's assisting you in creating even the prosperity. And don't think lack. Stop saying, oh, I don't have enough money. I had two friends of mine that they said in our class, they said, they didn't know that the other one was experiencing it, but they said, just give me a little bit of money. Just give me a little bit of money. So when they got back to class, each one of them said what they found was they would look on the ground, they'd see pennies, they'd see nickels, they'd see all this change in various places. Because what did they ask for?
Just a little bit
of money.
That's all they got, a little bit.
That's exactly what they created. And that's what Carol was talking about earlier. Watch what you say, because the unconscious is just going to take it for what you want. It's going to give you what you want. It's going to work with you and support you in what you want. So opulence in health, like Leigh said, that was a wonderful statement. I feel Leigh's thinking again. Her head has moved over to the left to me. Okay, now Leigh, come on, bring it.
No, I just wanted to share with the audience and ladies, when I first started speaking earlier in the podcast, I said I did have a prosperity epiphany, I suppose. And I was doing something recently and I wanted to do it. It was on my mind. And what I came up with in like actual financial prosperity was I created just enough to, I would have been able to do what I wanted to do, but just that. And that's where it stopped. And when I was speaking to Greta about it, I said, yeah, Greta, I'm thinking that, okay, I'm a good creator. I can create everything. However, I need to make a shift because what I'm creating is just enough. And I will experience plenty, because plenty gives me the ability to create more with many others and share it. And that is what, that is my desire. So yeah, I mean, it was great. I completely appreciated the whole episode because it just like Greta is always telling us, it facilitated my learning and understanding. If I hadn't created that just enough, it wouldn't have been the realization that I needed to see what I was doing. So that's where I stand on that financial thought.
I see that you put a limit on yourself, Leigh.
Right, exactly. Without realizing that I was putting the limit. You see?
Careful what we say and what we think. And Greta said this to all of us many times. Do not think, oh, I have to pay this bill, or oh, I owe this money. Think of it as circulation of prosperity. Because even though you're sending money out, it doesn't mean it's not coming back to you if you create it to. So don't look at it as an obligation or as a chore. You're still thinking in terms of prosperity. You're just circulating it so everyone can share in it.
Right. Well, I will experience opulent prosperity circulation.
And I think we need to circulate out for a break. Is that right?
Yes, we do, Greta. We need the rep to come in and give us more insight.
Okay.
All right, audience, we'll be back with you in just a few. And when we return, we will have the realm of beings themselves commenting on this week's quote. See you in a few. Welcome back, listeners. Thank you for staying with us. We are at that point of the show where the realm will weigh in on the quote. Realm, are you with us?
Yes, we are here, most definitely.
And we are very happy to have you. This week, the quote we've been discussing is, prosperity is so right for me. Know that you can create prosperity in all aspects of your life.
The big word for us is create. We'd like to share with everyone that you are constantly in a state of creating, not necessarily attracting something. Before you can attract something to you, you must create it. So in that process, creation takes place first. And where does creation come from? But it starts in your mind. It starts with thought. Sometimes you'll say things like, somebody will ask you, how do you feel? And you say, oh, I'm not feeling so well today. Look what you have claimed for yourself. Look what you have created for yourself. Every thought that you think, every thought that comes out of your mouths, you are creating it. Now, what happens is you receive more emotions. The emotions, and you give more emotions to something, that intensifies it, and therefore then it brings it into actualization. We're not going into all the scientific reasons why this happens. But we want you to realize that everything you speak, you created it. Everything you speak. If you say, I have a cold, you create that. You're creating it to be more. You want to focus on the prosperity through that affirmation that we gave. You want to focus on perfect health, not on your illness experience that you yourself created in the first place. So as you create, so can you uncreate. So think prosperity. Think opulent prosperity. That was good what Leigh said. I just thought of just enough. You're the force. You can have the whole thing, for goodness sakes. You know, think big.
Exactly.
Think big. Don't think small. Think big. You know, and think of loving yourself as you're thinking big. in your mind. I am experiencing opulence. I'm not experiencing, oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, money is evil. Money is the root of all evil. You have all those little adages around there. And then you have, oh, if I get this, I'll never be well. I can't be well. This is something happening to me. You created it, so uncreate the doggone thing. That's all you have to do is uncreate it. Now, how do you uncreate it? One way is thinking positive about yourselves. One way is loving yourselves with intensity, not just going and saying, oh, well, I love myself. That's not going to get it, y'all. That won't get it. You've got to go deep into yourselves and say, hey, I loves me.
That's where you need to feed the emotion. That's when you need emotion.
Absolutely. You want to be emphatic about that. I don't care who you're living with. Maybe you're living with somebody you wonder why. How did I create that? You know, well, it's true. Some of you are in relationships that you go, oh, they're exasperating. Well, if you're in an exasperating relationship, why do you want to stay in there and be exasperated? Go and be in a loving relationship. Be in prosperity. You know, living in something that is, or in a relationship that is painful, that's dealing with lack, for goodness sakes. That's the opposite of prosperity. Prosperity is going to bring you joy. It's going to bring you peace. It's going to increase your love of self. All those wonderful things. If somebody is knocking you upside your head, you think that's prosperity? No, it is not. Get out of it. Leave it behind. You don't have to keep it. You created the situation. So uncreated, you have the power. So stop saying, I have no money. I am poor. I am homeless. Now, if you want to be homeless, that is choice unto itself. You have chosen it, really. And it's bringing you lessons that you feel that you want to learn and experience at this time. And that's okay. Whatever your statue in life, whatever you choose in your life is okay. But this podcast is about, what if it's not okay with you? What if it's not okay? Then what are you going to do? That's why there's the affirmation of prosperity. And I am experiencing this. I am experiencing great energy. I'm not, how are you doing? Oh, I feel so tired today. I can hardly move. I can hardly get out of my bed. Unfocus that thought. I am experiencing opulent prosperity in energy. Energy. I have the energy. I have the fortitude to do and accomplish what I want. I have it. It is mine. Prosperity is mine. You can't claim prosperity for somebody else, but doggone it, you can claim it for yourself. So claim it. Claim it. I am experiencing opulent prosperity. Yay for me. Yay for me. Give yourself.
I am experiencing opulent prosperity. Yay for me, realm.
Goody. Goody, Leigh. Yes, yes. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that energy with us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, it's wonderful, isn't it? When you can lift yourself up and say,
Exactly.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Here I am, world. Here I am. I am opulent prosperity all the way through, inside, outside, around side. I am it.
And
I
it is
am.
so right for me.
Absolutely.
That's the title, right?
It's right for me. It's right for me. It makes me want to break out in song, but I'll spare you all for right now.
No, we like, maybe we need a song.
Gretta's voice is very melodious. We wouldn't mind that at all. Since you're using her voice, that would be probably a treat.
We're going to pass on it today, though.
That's fine. Realm, I'd like to just maybe bring to attention with the listeners that a lot of this lack of prosperity that they think is very deep-seated from early childhood. You used a couple of phrases that I think people have grown up with. Another, you said money is evil. I think many people heard that as children.
Oh, yes. Yes, because we're taught. See, loving ourselves too is another form of opulence, prosperity. And sometimes we go through things when we're children that, you see, we're saying we, because we see ourselves as one with you. So as children, we could have been told things, you know, you're not going to accomplish anything in your life. You know, some people have even heard that the mothers say, well, you know, you were an accident.
Mm.
You were not planned. We really didn't really want you here. So you can hear all kinds of things, but just remember this. Your parents were children as well. And they had parents. If they're saying this to you, then their parents have said it to them. So they have hung on to that and see that as a normal condition, a normal way of speaking to a child, you know. And then what happens when you are spoken to as a child like that, you begin to believe the things, because here you are, a small person looking up at these tall giants. And then you're saying, well, they're the ones that are feeding me, because you're thinking like that at that point. You're not understanding that you're feeding yourself, but they're feeding.
Like something else.
Right. You know, they're keeping a roof over my head. They're the ones that are sending me to school. You know, so they're in control. They're in control. So therefore you believe and accept what they've said about you, because they're bigger than you are. Then you start to grow. You start to get tall. Some of you get taller than your parents. And now you're looking at them. But the thing is, you've accepted what they've said about you. So then you practice it. You practice bringing things to you that support you and not feeling love of self, because they told you you weren't lovable. They taught you that you were worthless. They taught you that. You learned those things.
Generally, that's what they felt about themselves. So
Absolutely.
they were just passing it on. And that at least my parents' generation didn't have a Greta or access to a realm of beings to even learn how to stop thinking that way.
But you know, everybody on the podcast, everybody who's listening today, They're listening because they want to change
Right.
themselves. They want to change themselves. They want to embrace the prosperity. Bring flowers. Greta was talking about bringing flowers. Bring flowers into your house. If you can't, if you think you can't afford, notice what I've said. You think you can't afford $7.99 for a bunch of flowers, then you're going to not bring one. But you know what? You can get a flower for $1.99. So if you don't want to spend the money, you haven't built up that you can afford $7.99, then go for the $1.99. Because then the next day or the next week, you're going to say, I'll go for 2 flowers now, $2.99. You see, so you're building. You don't have to jump into it right away. Build on it. Build and build and build and build. Some of you say, I don't have enough money to go out to a restaurant. Take yourself out to a restaurant. It doesn't have to be expensive. Go to McDonald's. You know, sit in the booth, order a burger. They have all those different types of burgers and things like that. And in any other place of business, go to that, sit down there. Even if you order just one thing, sit there and enjoy it. You've taken yourself out to a restaurant, and you don't have to wait for somebody else to take you. Take yourselves. You don't have to wait for somebody to take you to the show. Take yourself. Somebody was going to say something.
Yes, I wanted to back up a second because I think you hit on an integral point a couple of sentences ago, and I want to take this last couple of minutes. It could possibly be off topic to explore it a little more, but you said something super key and you just totally went by it. You said when we're children, we think our parents are feeding us. We think they're putting a roof over our heads. So therefore, we're like obeying these giants that surround us. But it's technically, that is like actually like just another set of false beliefs, right? Because we're creating the roof over our head. Like the child is creating whether it's fed or not fed by said people around it, right? Can you just like kind of, because that is like some sort of like shaking foundational core things, I think.
That's because, I'm so glad you brought us back to that, Leigh, because people think that as children, we're not creating our reality.
Right.
You see, people don't understand that you create your reality before conception, not after. You created it before because you chose your parents. That's a creation of reality right there. And you chose them based on at the incarnate stage, with the incarnate supporting you in those choices. These are the lessons I have. So these parents will assist me in experiencing those things. Perhaps I want to come into a family that is opulent and wealthy beyond wealth. And then all of a sudden in the middle, I'm 13 years old and we become unwealthy. So maybe I want to experience that. But at every point, you are creating reality. At every point.
I think that's like such a, you know, as I'm sitting here as an adult, or supposedly just a taller child, I think, you know, that is like fundamental though, because I think like it seems that we're under this false belief system that like someone else is taking care of us, right? That it's
Absolutely.
Somebody else doing these things for us, to us, providing us with a roof and shelter and all of that. But It's actually like, I mean, pivotal that like it's, we're learning all of this now, maybe a little, well, I know, I don't want to, I'm just not going to say it. We're learning all this now. Okay. Now is now. And that's what we have. But, like it's pivotal to understand, like we've been thinking about like just how deep it runs. We've been thinking perhaps for decades that like somebody else was providing for us or doing something else for us. But like the whole time we've been doing it ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That all revolves around how we were taught that things are external to us. They don't, at least I wasn't brought up with the understanding that everything is internal. And I think that's the key of people now who are tuned in and watching Shifting Impressions and reading these types of books or attending Gretta's classes, that we're starting to understand everything is deep within us. We have all our answers. We have all the knowledge. It's just getting to that point where we understand that we're the force.
Right. That like real, like deep understanding. And I think there's also, there's a lot, like there's something to be said for like centeredness and balance and like, creating in alignment with like your head, your heart, and your will.
Mm-hmm. That you have all of that going for you. But the thing is, I think what's coming up in the conversations that both of you are bringing to it is that we have to recognize that the power is always with us. And we are very power, we prefer the word strength over power. You have the strength to overcome anything at any time that you wish to overcome it. Be it something that you learned when you were a child, or be it which supported you in learning other lessons as an adult, regardless if you've been looping over and doing the same thing over and over and over again. All you have to do is decide, make the decision, I don't want to do this anymore. It's as simple as that.
And it's that, like in that essence, like, we try to overcomplicate things, but it's like literally that simple. Like, I no longer want to create this experience, full stop, shift.
And it's all about recognizing creation of reality. I mean, personally, I have followed the tenets for many decades, but it's only recently, the last few years, that I even learned the terminology creation of reality. So understanding it from that perspective and believing in it has made all the difference in my life. Well, oh, go ahead, Leigh.
Well, Realm, we've reached the end of another podcast. I think we may have a couple of seconds left. Do you have any final words?
I would like to just interject, if the realm doesn't mind.
We don't mind. Go ahead, Carol.
Thank you. For Sunday, October 1st at the Westin Hotel in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Gretta will be there, and I'm sure the Realm of Beings will be there with her. I will be there. It's a holistic health and healing expo. It is free. You can go online to register. Gretta's workshop will be at 3:45, but the event itself begins at 11 a.m. It's October 1st, Sunday, at the Mount Laurel Westin Hotel, and we would love to see as many of you as possible. Thank you for letting me interrupt.
And Realm, I think Carol, that wraps up another podcast of Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. Until we create each other again, be well.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with the realm and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.